Welcome back to part 2 of the video, and this is Guthries Taxis and this is the rear of the building. I now want to place on the rear of the building a building that was actually on the side of Guthries on Alma Street, and this is where the boot factory was, but I want to put the face side of it on there. This is the actual building itself from the side view, and this is where I want to put onto the rear of the building. Rather than do all the diagrams and sketches and all of the measuring, I imported the photograph into Inkscape, and then using the page grid I was able to then draw the building as it stood. From this drawing I then took the picture away and I was left with the actual building. It wasn't the scale that I wanted or the size that I wanted, so the next step was to make it into the size that I wanted, and this was 65 by 80, so I changed the sizes to 65 by 80. I then checked that the building actually fitted into the frame for the back of Guthries, which it did. I then decided to make a duplicate using the duplicate tool, and that was the piece that I would work on next. Using the duplicate, I then selected and ungrouped the object, and as shown here, all of the component parts are there. So I carefully removed each component, ready to go to the cutting list. Trying to keep them in the best order that I could in an exploded format. These would be all of the parts that I would add once the main frame had been cut out. What we're left with on the left is the actual frame, the openings, and these are the component parts that will be added to the final finish. Using the same method, I then took the photograph of the back of the building and placed the Alma Boot Factory in place. Then by transposing from there, I was able to get the heights of the windows and placement of windows. I use these boxes just to see that I've got the actual spacing correct. From there I removed the photograph so I could then just see a little bit more clearly where the lines were. I double check just to make sure everything was central, and as you can see, these boxes were used just to check for the centres of the windows. After removing everything, the pictures and the lines, this is what I was left with, ready for a cutout to go to the machine. One change I did make was to realign all of the bottom of the windows, and that was to make it look architecturally symmetrical, because builders don't actually put one window high, one window low. They try to line them up as I've done here, and as this part of the building, the Alma Street component from the boot factory, was slightly out of line, I've aligned them to make them look more symmetrical. This photo shows the rear of the building attached and the roof temporarily in place. This is so that I can get in and fit the windows. Some of the frames that you can see behind the windows will actually be hidden by shades within the windows. On the left and on the right are two separate flats that were attached to the building, and underneath on the right hand side was the taxi office. Thanks for watching, and in the next video I'm going to show the fitting of all of the windows and all of the surface finishes. I'll be putting the surface finishes on first and then adding the windows so that it can be varnished before the windows actually get fitted.